Hello YouTube, welcome to the channel. Now then, on today's video we're going to be looking at this baby. It is the JJRC Q146-1/14 scale brushed truggy. Now I am particularly excited about testing this for you guys today, and I'm going to tell you why. Here in the UK a couple of years back, the Wltoys 144001 was basically the budget RC to own. It was cheap, it had good spares backup, it handled well, and it was quite quick. And all for about 60-65 quid ish. Unfortunately, since that point the price has crept up and up and up and up, and now the Wltoys normally retails for about 100-120 quid approximately for the brushed or the brushless version. I think that this is based on a Wltoys 144001, but for 60-65 quid at the time of making this video on Banggood. So this thing is basically like going back in time. So if I'm correct in my assumption, this thing will be based on what is quite a capable chassis at an extremely competitive price. Now before we get into it, there are a couple of differences between the JJRC and the Wltoys. The biggest one is the motor that they use. In the Wltoys they use a great big 550 can, which did give it a fair turn of speed out of the box. JJRC have opted to use a 390 brushed motor in this thing. So this thing is not going to be as quick as the Wltoys, but you are going to be able to upgrade it at some future point, so that's not much of an issue. We'll have a quick look at the box before we go any further. It's 2.4 gig, ready to run, apart from the batteries for the transmitter. It's 4-wheel drive, oil shocks, which incidentally are the really nice budget ones that you seem to get on a lot of these modern RCs. We've got a rudder machine, which I presume that they mean a steering servo, which thank God, and it's full function, which basically in their terminology means forwards, backwards, left, right. Simple as that. Anyway, let's get into this. I am dying to see what the contents are, so enough waffle. Let's crack it open. Right then, in the box we get our instructions and hopefully parts manual. We get what looks like a generic Wltoys USB battery charger. We've got some sort of a screwdriver here, and with possibly a Phillips screwdriver head bit and a little wheel nut socket to get the wheel nuts off. We've got our controller, and first impressions are it feels a little bit plasticky, bit big. But it sort of sits nice in the hand. It's not too much of an issue. It looks like we've got steering trim and a throttle dual rate. I mean, it's not the nicest controller I've ever picked up. Let's see. It takes 4 AA batteries, obviously, which you have to supply. And last but not least, the bit I've been looking forward to is the actual truggy itself. Now then, that looks mint, that does. I'm not going to lie. That looks mint. And check this out. Oh, JJRC. It's got body clips that are actually affixed to the body shell itself, so there's no more losing body clips in the dirt anymore, because obviously they're attached to the shell, so that's brilliant. First impressions, like I say, it's oil-filled shocks, loads of damping. This thing looks mint in this sort of teal body. Tyres, I don't think they've got foams in, but the rubber's quite soft and compliant. If we go underneath, wow, recognise that, anybody? Now I've said that before actually, and when I've put the chassis plate up of a Wltoys, it's been slightly different, but that to me looks something like, and as do these wishbones here. So I really like the look of this thing already. Front seems quite firm, back seems quite soft, but it might be just need, oh, it's at the minimum preload adjustment on the shocks. Let's get its clothes off and have a look underneath that body. Right then, if we lift the bodywork off, we have one lithium ion battery. I think it's 2S if I'm not much mistaken. What did it say? 1500 milliamp hour capacity. We've got our ESC receiver combo there. I would imagine the ESC sort of 30-40 amps, something like that. It looks like we've got a 5-wire steering servo, basically the same as Wltoys. The first major difference is the motor in this thing. It's the 390 can, whereas the 44001 has a great big 550 unit. That's what made them so quick. Obviously, this will be, you'll be able to upgrade this to the 550, I would imagine, and or a brushless setup. I would imagine there's a brushless version of this in the pipeline anyway. We've got some really nice plush shock absorbers, and I'm a big fan of these shocks. They really are decent quality, considering this is a budget RC. They do feel quite nice. This thing is 4-wheel drive, and there looks to be a red alloy center drive shaft, and I'm going to bet that that's exactly the same as a 44001. We've got, it just basically looks like a 14400, slightly different areas, like these shock towers are slightly different, but I've got some 14401 parts here, and check this out. If I do this, get it the right way around, there we go, it's identical. So basically you could swap all the componentry off this onto a 14401 chassis and it would fit. I've even got some wishbones, I think, front wishbones off the 14401, and we can offer them up. There you go. I don't know if you can tell, they're identical. We've got adjustable turnbuckles, and we can adjust the toe-in and camber of the front wheels and the camber of the rear wheels. It's basically a decent quality piece of kit, this is, and I have actually forgot to mention the price. This was on special offer on Banggood for 65 quid. Can't remember what that is in dollars, but it's now, I think it's now gone up to about 80, which is about $100. So for 65 quid, I think this thing is an absolute bargain. It's not going to be as quick as a Wltoys 14401 because of that motor, but it's infinitely upgradable. You've got all the spares back up of a 14401, and the fact that you're rolling back the prices 3 years as well. So like I say, I'm genuinely excited to run this. I've got some sort of light there at the front as well. So what I think I'll do is I might just take this centre section off, just have a quick look at the drivetrain. Right then, just pull the cover off the rear transmission, and there's some good news. I've got here a 14401 reduction gear assembly, which is identical to the JJRC's. I haven't got a diff, unfortunately, but I have got a diff rebuild kit, and all the gears in this kit seem to be compatible with the JJRC. So again, brilliant news. Even down to the rear dog bones at the back, I'm pretty sure that they're Wltoys as well. So that's great news if you got one of these, because you're going to be able to get tons of upgrades and tons of spare parts for this thing. Okay, then that's the truck back together. Now, before we take it out to the Miniature Construction Company test track, I thought we'd check the top speed. Now, I don't believe JJRC quote a top speed for this thing. I don't think it's going to be anything mind-blowing because of the 390 motor and the fact that it's running lithium-ion battery, but we're going to check it anyway. I thought I'd show you the lights first, which are quite bright, and the steering servo. Check this out, it's quite quick and responsive. I think it's pretty quick. Anyway, let's go and check the top speed. Okay then, with the standard lithium ion, this thing does 22.3. I don't think that's too bad actually out of the box. I was expecting a lot less, I must admit. I thought 16, 17 mile an hour, but 22.3, that's really surprised me. I think I'm going to try this with a little lipo in it. Right then, with a little lipo in it, and not a particularly good one at that, this thing will do 24 miles an hour. I don't think that's too bad at all. It's pretty peppy, this thing is, considering it's just a 390 brushed motor. I mean, if they bring out a brushless one, God only knows what it'll be like. Right then, back inside, what do we think of the JJRC Q146 here? Well, let's go with some good and bad points, shall we? Not break with tradition. We'll go with the bad points first. These are niggles more than anything else. The first of which is these things, or mine in particular anyway, wasn't very well set up from the factory. So the adjustable turnbuckles, etc., that control the camber of the wheels, they're basically all over the place. So, you know, if you do buy one of these, I would advise going through and adjusting them up correctly. Also, one of the shock mounts is put in the wrong position from the factory, so one of the wheels was cockeyed. But if you do buy one of these, like I say, my particular example anyway, wasn't very well set up from the factory. And the second bad point I've got written down in my list was the fact that there wasn't any discernible lube in the diffs on this thing. So again, it might be worth, if you do buy one of these, before you take it out, you know, strip the diffs, shove some lube in, and away you go. Right, then let's have some good points. So the first of which is the looks. I think JJRC, personally, have done a fantastic job on this truck. I think it looks absolutely amazing. I love the colour scheme. It just looks mint. The second good thing I've got written down in my list is a spares backup. Because this thing is based on Wltoys, all the spares are available, all the hop-up parts are available. So from that standpoint, you've got no worries. Now, the next good thing I've got written down in my list is the speed. Now, this thing did actually surprise me with regards to its top speed. 24 miles an hour on a little LiPo with a 390 brushed motor in it. I thought that was fantastic. So this exceeded my expectations. The next good thing I've got written down on my list is the handling, and because this thing is based on a Wltoys 144-001, you get a decent chassis with decent shocks. So this thing has got surprisingly nice handling. Also, like I mentioned in the first part of the video, this RC is decent value for money. I give 65 quid for it. I think it's back up to about 80 quid at the moment on Banggood. But even at 80 quid, I think you get a reasonable RC for your money. And surprisingly quick, given it's a brushed 390 motor. Right then, conclusion time. Would I recommend the JJRC Q146 to you guys? And the answer is absolutely yes. It's a decent handling, reasonably quick, fun little RC car on 1/14th scale. It's got an excellent chassis, like I say, reasonable turner speed, and it's just good fun to use. And to be honest, I am looking forward to the next time we're going to be taking this out. So once again, it gets a big thumbs up from me. As ever, if you want this truck, I will leave a link in the description. I'm going to try and get Banggood to send me a promo code for this so you guys can get some money off. If you found this video of some use and interest, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you're feeling that way inclined, hit that subscribe button for more similar future content. Once again, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you again very soon. Thank you.